It can be incredibly difficult to stay motivated as an artist. There are a lot of potential distractions and a lot of things that you do have to consider and do. So in this video, I'm going to share some things that have helped me and some actionable insights that will hopefully help you too. Firstly, it's important to test the waters. There are so many different methods out there for productivity and life hacks that might work for you and might not. Personally, I think I've tried them all over the past 5 years and tried to find a combination that works for me. I've tried the Pomodoro timers, I've tried time blocking, I've tried journaling, goal setting. For me at the moment, journaling and daily goals are the things that work best, but you have to try these things out and make sure you find a combination that works for you. And it's important as well to realize that even though something might work for a short time, it won't work forever. I'm always trying new things for me, seeing what works, investing in things like Rescue Time or Flora, trying different apps and methods. So don't just get set in your ways when you find something that works, because you might find that it gets stale. Keep trying new methods and new things and see what works for you in the long term. Your why can propel you and energize you, but if it starts to go, it can be really confusing. So for example, maybe your goal was to get your first band shots taken, you've played live, you've released your first single, and now you don't know what to do, and most importantly, why you need to do what's next. It can be very easy to get lost and distracted in this phase, and it's really difficult to maintain focus and continue to grow. The best thing to do, I think, in this is just take a step back, almost start again with your goals, get a pen and paper and write down exactly what you want to do. Because if you don't know what you want to do and have clarity around that, there's no way you can achieve it, and you're just working towards something that's impossible to maintain. It's important to note that when you're doing something that feels worthwhile and resonates with you, that you'll feel energized by it. So for example, for me, I was an artist, I've been in bands and stuff, and often felt quite drained, but when I started to pivot towards production, I noticed that I felt energized, and when I was talking about those topics, I had like a fire in my belly that started to go. When that happens for you, make sure you pay attention and use that, because that energy will get you through the harder days and the good days too. It's important to note that just because you found something that fires you up and you're really interested in, that it will still be difficult. Even though I feel like I found something that I'm really passionate about, there are still hard days and that'll come regardless. So make sure you're easy on yourself, and then you make sure you take rest as well. Really, really important stuff. If you're pushing your limits and learning, it will feel difficult, but that's exactly how you know it's working. It's a little bit like going to the gym, it's a bit of a cliche analogy, but when you work hard and get that last rep in, that's exactly where growth occurs, and this is no different as an artist. For example, if you're writing songs and you just push yourself to get that chorus one bit better, change a few words around, maybe mess around with the chords, it's those little minute details that separate the good from the great. So putting in those extra reps as an artist will help you massively in the short term and in the long run as well. Those things pay off with dividends. As I briefly mentioned before, make sure you're staying consistent, but also get rest. Your mind still works when you're resting. This is how you process the information that you've learned through the day. So make sure you're getting a good balance of work and rest. Make sure you're staying slow and steady. Now, I spoke to an artist last week who told me that the longer it takes, the longer it lasts, which is something I told him I was going to steal, and I have. It's a really great quote for me because it feels like it mentions what we all need to hear, which is it's not all about those short-term wins, which can feel really, really important with social media and the like. But in reality, if you're wanting to build something that's going to last, a career that's going to sustain the rest of your life, it might take your whole life to build it, but that's the whole point. And if you enjoy it, it'll be worthwhile throughout. It's not just what you get at the end of the ride, it's what you get throughout the journey too. It's better to take tiny, consistent steps than massive leaps in the wrong direction. Now, yet again, it can feel very, very easy. I understand a lot of people have jobs, they might have kids, there's a lot of things they have to do, and you have to make sure you're spending your time wisely. But at the same time, if you're only working on something once a week, it can be very, very difficult to maintain that consistency. Now again, this is very different person by person, and of course you can't really give a prescription that fits everybody. But the important thing to do here is make sure when you are using your time, and you're putting energy into your career, make sure that you're using it wisely and doing things that actually push the needle forward. As I mentioned before, there are so many distractions that look like opportunities, and sometimes there are genuine opportunities that you'll need to turn down. You might have to turn down something good to do something great, and that's something that you might have to pay attention to. So make sure you're doing things that focus on the goals that you should have written down by now. If it doesn't serve those goals, then try not to do it unless you absolutely have to. Reflect on the past, project into the future, and live in the now. The past can be a great indicator as to what's worked before and can give hints as to what might work in the future. There are questions you can ask yourself, such as what motivated you in the past and what got you to achieve those things. Maybe looking backwards can help you get forwards in that way. Another question is to look at what have you achieved that you're proud of. This can just be useful in terms of recognizing where you've been and where you're going. So look at those two questions, they might help you move forward. The future, it's important not to spend too much time looking at this right now, but also if you want to set goals and stay motivated, it's important to have that little glimpse into what might be. So look at yourself in the next couple of years. What do you want to achieve personally, professionally, and as an artist? Start to write those goals down. Look in about 2 to 3 years. It can just help you set the precedent and make sure you're staying clear and on the path that serves you best. And finally, and most importantly, the now. How can you look to the past and look to the future to inform how you take your next steps and make sure you're consistently moving forward? So I hope this discussion's been helpful on how to stay motivated as an artist. There's a lot of information in a short amount of time, but make sure you take your time and implement it slowly and make sure you do things that work for you. I really hope it's been valuable. If you're an alt-pop artist and you're wanting to stay consistent and release your best sounding song in the next 5 weeks, check the top link in the description for the Alt-pop Accelerator. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching.